Okay, let's see. Pop up here, pop up. All right. Okay, everybody. I am live, as live can be. Hopefully you guys can hear me on this Monday afternoon, going into late Monday afternoon. It's 4:13 p.m. Pacific, West Coast time. It is the second Monday in 2025. That is being January 13th. And I do apologize, first of all, if the phone does ring. I will probably be getting a phone call later on, basically from just personal phone call, if you will, letting me know what's going on and everything. So I do apologize for that. I'm gonna double check something real quickly, guys. And of course the ads will come on and everything for Instacart. I don't know why. Super chats, though, guys, are on. If you guys want to look into that, super chats are on as we speak. And I'm going to double check now, go to the history here. Because apparently going on YouTube yeah, it's on. It is making sure, guys. But yeah, I want to welcome you guys. This is a video where I want to talk about something when it comes to Helluva Boss season 3. Not just, the theories and all that, but also, like what roles certain characters are going to play. And I've kind of alluded to it before, like what roles I believe they're going to play and everything based on what we've seen. But going back and watching at least, the ending of Sin's their Christmas episode and season 2 finale, going back and looking at the ending there, especially Loona's reaction when she got back home. Of course, she had, gone through a transformation, and I guess she changed back to normal off screen and everything during the ending, before they went back home. But yeah, there was a moment in there, of course, a lot of you probably know about it, where she finally achieved a transformation, which is known as her full, I wouldn't say full Hellhound, but it's close to it, form. It's a full transformation. You see it in the picture. And I think that moment right there blew a lot of people's minds, because they knew, okay, Queen Bee, Beelzebub, voiced by Kesha, she's basically a Hellhound herself. And as we've seen in that episode in season 1, which didn't air until season 2 because it was because of conflicting issues behind the scenes. But basically, we saw that she can grow to gigantic size. She's a half bee, half Hellhound hybrid, and we see that she can grow to a huge size. But she's a kind individual. She's a very loving, kind individual. We see that in the ending here when Loona wants to play some board games, and she wants to do it with drinks, and we see that she's gotten a limited Sinsmith edition of Glut Honey, which obviously is from Beelzebub, from Queen Bee. And also Beelzebub was one of those that stood up for Blitzo in the Mastermind episode. Basically like, hey, this guy's cool, I don't see anything wrong with him, and so on. But, the thing is about that moment, it's like, what is going to happen? Because again, you look at some of the images, like at the bottom here, you see her entering her room, and then the other one at the right, in the middle right, she's stretching, kind of cracking her back because it took a lot out of her. It's like, she even says, wow, that was intense. And it was intense, because basically she goes feral when she goes into full Hellhound. Like, she doesn't, like the one thing a lot of people are wondering about is, does she speak? Does she speak at all as a Hellhound when she goes full Hellhound and everything in the episode? And she doesn't speak. She just growls and howls, and that's it. We know that she does bark a little bit, even in anthropomorphic form. But it's like, to a lot of people here, it's like, does she go a little further? Does she go and, become more feral, and everything in this new mode? And I don't think she does, honestly. I don't think she really does, honestly, if you want my opinion. I don't think she does. I think primarily with Loona, it's more along the lines of she is, she is basically, she's basically learning, I think, this new form and everything. Basically, what that was, in my opinion, it's like when you look at old cartoons, old syndicated Saturday morning cartoons, and there's a character that's being told, hey, you got this other form locked within you, and that when the moment comes, it will unlock, but you have to be careful when you unlock it because you might lose yourself to that form. As a matter of fact, there was a cartoon on Netflix. I think it was Netflix, where this one girl, she would turn into a jaguar or Jumbara jaguar creature. And she'd always be able to change back, but she was told that if she doesn't change back at a certain time, she'll become lost. Like, she'll literally become the creature that she turns into almost permanently, unless she can find a way back, or at least people can help her find a way back. And she does. She has her friends help her kind of find a way back, because if she doesn't, get back to to normal, the jaguar side of her, the animal she becomes, takes control. In other words, she gets imprisoned in this body unless she can find a way out. And there was, thankfully, a moment where she found, her way out. She found her way out and everything. In that cartoon, and I think it was like one of the finales or something like that. If you will, she found her way out and all that. So basically, when I look at Loona here and her situation, I'm wondering if maybe her form is going to play a factor. Because again, you look at how she reacts at the end of the episode, and she is basically like, wow, it just took a lot out of her. It took a lot out of her and everything, and that's why she wanted to see if her friends could still come over, because she needs a few drinks after what happened, because, as she puts it, it was intense. It's like, come on, it's like, literally, put yourself in her shoes, or put yourself on her, in her feet, if you will, and, you got this transformation where you can go to become a human, disguise yourself as a human, when you go to the real world, or, in the case of one of the earlier episodes in the season, kind of hide yourself from being shot at any more than what you are or what you were. And basically it's like it's basically like you put yourself in that position to where you got that transformation, but now you have this other one that all of a sudden is new to you. You go totally Hellhound feral on it, but but it's like you still keep yourself. It's like you still are, who you are and everything, but you're more animal, you're more feral than before. So you got to wonder if that's going to play a factor, in season 3, to where maybe she'll find out more about, her new form and how long she has to, stay, or how long she'd have to stay in it before it would like take total full control over her, in the future. Drinking some Coca-Cola there, but. You'd have to wonder, like, if that's going to play a factor. And I think it will. I think it will play a factor, because one of the things we did find out is, and I don't know how this is going to play into her having this new form, is we found out her parents are going to show up. Her actual legitimate parents. But we don't know if it's going to be in a flashback or it's going to be in present day. Vivziepop didn't say what it's going, or where that's going to be, when that's going to take place, but she did hint that they will show up. How it's gonna happen, we don't know. Usually she'll use flashbacks to kind of tell the story a little bit. Like in one of the episodes where they go to the human world to find Octavia. Basically, Blitzo is put into this play, or this this role of being in a show or something like that, and he flashes back. It causes him to flash back to when he met Loona. Excuse me. to when he met Loona, and it causes him to kind of go off the deep end, because he's very protective of her, because he starts shooting and everything and saying you can't have her and all that. So you got to wonder if maybe that's how they're going to tell Loona's story with her parents, and what the history is there, and why they abandoned her and everything. Because come on, she didn't end up in that cell, in that kennel, if you will, for no reason. She wasn't just saying she wasn't just walking the street one day and say, you know what, I'm just gonna get myself arrested and everything and end up in a kennel till I'm 18. No, somebody put her there. And we're going to get information hopefully in season 3, and maybe we might even find out of whether or not this Hellhound thing, comes at a certain time in her life. Like, we know she's 18, but was it supposed to come at this time, or was it supposed to come sooner or later? Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll get some answers, but we'll see. We'll see what they do here. I'm intrigued to see, how that plays out, and how Blitzo is going to react to it as well, if it's present day. But I'm thinking more than likely we're going to get him in a flashback. Because, again, the way he met Loona, told in a flashback. The way he met Moxie, told in a flashback. The way he met Millie, told in a flashback. As well as the same with Stolas. The way he met him, told in a flashback. So you have to kind of, think to yourself, all right, how will this come to be with Loona? And I'm thinking Loona's is going to be flashback as well. It's going to be a flashback as well. And I think that moment's going to be an emotional one for her, because it's going to be like, if it has to deal with her going into the Hellhound transformation, it's going to make her kind of like, think, kind of think, if not consider, maybe getting some help, not just from her dad Blitzo, but maybe from Beelzebub, from Keisha's character as well, or Kesha's character as well, as to find out, okay, how do I control this part of me that is now, a reality? How do I control this without losing myself, if you will? Because again, that's going to be a question that's going to get asked, not just by fans, but by the characters in the show. Like, how does especially Loona herself, like, how am I going to keep you got to imagine there's going to be a moment in season 3 where she's going to ask, how do I turn into a Hellhound but not lose myself to that transformation? You gotta really think about that being a moment that's going to occur, and I think it will. How her parents play into it, even if it's through a flashback, which I think it will be, more than likely, because that's been the pattern going forward, in the series. You got to wonder how that's going to play a role in everything down the line. You got to wonder that. I mean, if I'm Vivziepop, and I'm sure she's already got this set up. I know she's already got this set up, but if I'm Vivziepop, I basically write it up, or present it in a way to where basically I present it in a way to where basically Loona is like, she wants to learn more about her past, and we find out through flashbacks what that past is, how her parents in flashback play into it, and how the Hellhound situation plays into it. Her going full Hellhound and everything plays into it as well, and whether or not anybody in her family in the past has lost themselves completely to to this transformation. Like, they've just gone full on feral and they've forgotten who they are. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Loona, because again, her character is too popular with fans. So I think basically her character is going to be more along the lines of, okay, I got to learn to control this and everything, and only let it out when needed, like she did in the Sinsmith finale when in that battle against Andy. I think that's the guy's name. So I'm looking forward to how they resolve that and everything. But speaking of Loona, I really found it kind of intriguing, and a lot of people brought this up. I find it really intriguing that basically she's patched up, her issues with Blitzo, really patched them up. Basically, has come to realize he does care for her as if she was his own flesh and blood, as his daughter. You got her to say she loves him and everything. So that's something fans have been waiting for a long time. But what's interesting, and guys, live chat is open if you want to chat in there. Give me your thoughts on what I'm trying to say, what I'm bringing up here, as well as super chats are also open if you want to help donate to the channel. But like I said, what's interesting, and again, some people brought this up, is how basically, Loona's relationship with Blitzo has been patched up, or at least almost 100% patched up, or at least on a respectable level of patched up, if you will. To the point that she understands he cares for her as if she was his own flesh and blood. She says she loves him and all that. She calls him dad now, full time and everything. And what's interesting is a lot of people brought this up, and I think I've even brought it up, to where, their relationship's gotten better, but now Octavia and Stellos has gotten worse. And it's like, okay, where do we go from here? And I mentioned this in my original theories video, audio video and podcast. I mentioned that I believe, fully, I believe that basically what's going to happen, as I check something here for a second, guys. I believe what's going to happen, is you're going to have Loona. Just like in that episode I mentioned, when they were looking for her, you're going to have Loona, just like she did in that episode, talk to Octavia. You remember, Loona explained to her, look, dads aren't perfect, but they're doing the best they can. And she says this while she's holding, she's holding the lighter or the matches that has Blitzo's business logo on it. And her eyes glow in a very affectionate way when she's talking about that. Indicating, yeah, she does care about Blitzo, but she, at that time, didn't want him to be too over affectionate, if you know what I mean. Now, obviously, she has probably no problem with it to an extent. She has no problem with it to an extent, with him being a little affectionate towards her in public. But I think the, bonding between them and the understanding is you got to watch, you got to have your limits. You got to have your limits, if you know what I mean. But anyway, like I said, I think she's going to be the one that talks to Octavia again, just like she did in the episode where they first met. And she brings up to her, hey, I used to not get along with my stepdad, with Blitzo. But, when I found out that he was willing to die for me, and he put me first, he told, Millie and Moxie, make sure I'm taken care of. That's when I found out that he does love me. He does care for me, even if he hides things from me for my own protection. Or he doesn't want to tell me everything for my own protection. And I think that's I think that moment right there is what's going to happen between her and Octavia. She's going to say something to that extent, to where basically she's going to explain to Octavia, yeah, your dad should have told you, but he had his reasons. And whatever his reasons were was out of love, not out of, he was ashamed, or, he was afraid you get mad at him and all that like you did. He did it out of love. He didn't do it because he didn't feel like you deserved to know. He did it out of love and for your own protection. So I think we're going to get another moment between Loona and Octavia when that happens. And I think when that moment happens, that's going to make Octavia wake up and realize, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been too hard on my dad, and maybe I do need to talk it out. Because one thing people have pointed out is she's confused. Remember, she's about the same age, maybe half a year younger, or whatever they go with, whatever they account as age, in the Helluverse. She's basically about a year or so younger, or half a year younger, I should say, than Loona. So basically looking at Loona maybe as that big sister she needs, or that big sister she needs to talk to, that's going to bring her around and make her realize, okay, I was too hard on him, I'm going to hear him out. And you're going to get a patch up, maybe I would say midway through season 3. I mean, I said before that they could wait to the end of season 3, which I think they could too. They could do that as well. But I think more than likely you're going to get a midway point. You're going to get a midway point of, a patch up between Octavia and her dad Stellos, if you will. you're going to get a moment where they patch up things. They have that understanding. And basically they make a promise, or at least Stellos makes a promise of no more secrets being hidden. Like, he's going to let her know a lot of things that, he should keep hidden from her. But because he doesn't want to break any more bonds or anything, he's going to let her in on some things. So either the end of season 3 at the latest, or midway point at the exact, or midway at probably the exact moment, like a mid-season finale, is when you're going to get the patch-up between the two. So you'll either get it at the season 3 finale or the mid-season finale, the mid-break portion of the show, when you'll get that patch-up happening between them. I think it's just, something that Vizzy, is looking at and considering, where she's going to place it. And I think more than obvious, if the show comes out a lot later this year, if not next year, for season 3, that midpoint might be around Christmas. If she brings it out later this year, but then again, it could come out next year. We don't know. But whatever the case is, I've got a feeling we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen, a moment between them, either in midway point to kind of break the first half off on a good note, or at the end to end the third season on a good note. We're going to get that moment between them, and it's going to be worth it in the end. And that image, this image here at the top, that's going to, that, like I said before in the theories video, that was put there for a reason. That reasoning is to give you a hint as to what's going to be coming in season 3. Guaranteed. Like I said, shows don't do that. Animated shows or live action shows don't do something like that in one season without saying, hey, this is what's coming in a future season. So that's coming. That moment's coming that you see at the top. Now, another moment that was significant in the finale that really plays into season 3 is Millie's pregnancy. And she hasn't told Mox or anything. And hold on for a second, guys. I told you the phone was going to ring. Hello?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now.
Okay.
Okay, what's up there? Nothing?
No.
Okay, all right then. Okay, I'll see you next week. When are we going to take the tree down? During the holiday weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the best time to take the tree down. We still have a lot of time, just take down you know what to put up and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Sorry about that, guys. Like I told you, the phone was going to ring for personal reasons. Do apologize for that. But like I said, getting back to to what I was saying, one of the things we do find out is, at the end of the Sinsmith finale for season 2, is Millie is pregnant. And as I was trying to say, she didn't tell Moxie. Nobody knows but her and her sister Sally Mae. And when I heard Sally Mae's voice at first, I'm thinking, is that a guy? I'm not saying it isn't, but it's a girl. Her name's Morgana. So, it's pretty cool. Or at least, well, it's a girl, basically. I'm not going to say any more than that. No offense. But anyway, she tells her sister, and everybody got a crack out of how her sister was like, because she's asking Sally Mae, are you alone? And Sally Mae's in the living room with the family, and she's like, she excuses herself by going, goes out the front door, closes it, goes, yeah, kind of basically uses a weird way to excuse herself, but, Millie, so yeah, when she's kind of in private with Millie on the phone, Millie's like, she's like, good, because I need to talk to somebody, and Sally Mae's like, oh, what's going on? And then Millie then we see the pregnancy test showing that she's pregnant, and then she kind of slumps down crying. She's like, I don't know what to do, and everything, and we don't know what the conversation was between her and Sally Mae, but I'm telling you right now, We got that short between Sally Mae and her earlier on this year or last year, I think. And we're going to get something. And what this tells me here, not just with that short, but what this tells me here with Sally Mae showing up at the end in the finale, being the one that Millie's talking to and confides in, Sally Mae is going to play a major part in season 3 when it comes to the pregnancy. I do. I definitely feel like she's going to play a major part in, the pregnancy and everything. And I've got a feeling she's going to be the one that tells Millie, look, you can't hide it from Moxie. You can't hide it from him for much longer. He's going to be a father. You need to let him know what's happening. You need to let him know you're going to be expecting. So I've got a feeling she's going to try to be the voice of reason with Millie to either go one way when it comes to to go one way when it comes to the pregnancy, which is not a very popular way, in the eyes of a lot of people, period. Just my opinion. Or go the other way, which is popular in my opinion, that people like, and that's have the child. So she's to me, Sally Mae is gonna play a major role here. And I think the reason she's also being brought in towards the finale is I have a feeling once Millie reveals to Mox and as well as the rest of the imp team that she's expecting, I think what's going to happen is they're going to say, well, you can't be going on missions anymore if you're going to be expecting. You're going to be endangering the child. And I think that's when Millie be like, well, I knew that. I think that's when Millie will basically be saying like, yeah, well, I had a feeling that might be the case, so I have somebody to take my place. And in comes Sally Mae. That's what I think might happen. We might have Sally Mae become like a temporal member, if not full on member of the imp team as in season 3. So that's what I think is going to happen with Sally Mae here. She's going to be the voice of reason to try to convince her to either keep the child or make the decision of either keep it or do the unthinkable, if you will. But I think if they're going to lean towards her keeping it, which is probably the most popular option, not just in continuity with the characters, but with the fans, I think Sally Mae is going to be brought in to step in for her sister during this situation and be a temporary member of Team Imp. And then I think because of that temporariness, where she proves herself as a viable member, I think she's going to be brought on as a full-time member, and you're going to go from, you're going to go from basically Blitzo, Mox, Millie, Loona. You're going to go from a team of 4 to a team of 5. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, I think that's the role she's going to play. She's going to play basically the supportive voice of reason. And I think if they do lean in the direction, which probably the most popular and most likely one in the eyes of a lot of fans, although a lot of fans have the theories that she might go the other way, and that's fine. That's up to them if they want to believe that. But I think if they do go the way where she's going to keep the baby, that's when that's when Sally Mae, in my opinion, is going to step in, and she's going to be the temporary replacement for Millie while Millie is on leave, or Millie is remaining back at headquarters, back where they live, because she's expecting. So I think that's what's going to happen, and I think because of that, when the whole Millie pregnancy arc is done, and she has the child, or maybe potentially goes the route people think she could go, which would be unpopular in my opinion, but more than likely goes the route which is going to be more acceptable in my opinion. I think basically, like I was saying, what's going to happen is Sally Mae's not only going to be a temporary member in place of Millie while this is happening, but when it's all said and done, because of her contribution to help out to step in for her sister, Sally Mae might be offered to be brought in as a full-time member of the team to work alongside her sister and her brother-in-law and the rest of Team Imp in doing their job. But just drinking some more Coke there. But that's just my opinion on it. That's just my opinion. But you know what else I think is going to happen too? Because I mentioned this in the other video, the other audio video. I think what's going to happen as well is you're going to have Loona call out Millie on the pregnancy as well. I think Loona's going to find out. She's a hellhound. She's, of course, going to have, she's going to have the ability, well, she does have, I should say, the ability to sense things, and to call things out when she senses them. And I think what's going to happen is she's going to basically, she's going to basically call out Millie on the pregnancy. She's going to sense something's up with Millie. She's going to see she's getting a little bit more aggressive. She's going to smell, or she's going to scent a certain smell going, or certain aroma, if you will, going around. And I think what's going to happen is she's going to put two and two together, and she's going to realize Millie's pregnant, and she's going to call her out on it. I think that's what's going to happen. So I think not just is Sally Mae going to know, but so is Loona. Loona's going to call her out as well. And Loona will do it in her own way. Like Millie, as I said in the original video I did, Millie might try to deny it with Loona, but Loona in her own Loona way will be like, bitch, I know you're pregnant. You can't hide it from me. I can smell the scent. I can smell the stench, if you will, coming off you that indicates, as such, if you will. I could see something like a moment like that happening, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do going forward. But yeah, I think, again, Sally Mae, I think, is going to play a major role in the season. And I believe she is going to be that voice of reason to either tell Millie it's up to you, whether you want to keep the child or go the other route with it, or get a little tongue tied here. Get a little tongue tied. But like I'm saying, it's like I said, I think Sally Mae will be like the voice of reason, and she will basically, like I said, convince Millie to make that decision. Does she want to keep the baby or go the other way with the baby, which would not suit well with a lot of viewers, in my opinion, or if she keeps the baby, does she want Sally Mae to step in for her, which I think will happen. So I think, honestly, Sally Mae is going to be that voice of reason, and she's going to, convince, in her own way, maybe convince Millie to keep the baby by giving her that choice. But I think by giving her that choice, she's going to lean more towards suggesting, hey, you need to keep this child for you and Moxie to have a future. So I think she's going to be that voice of reason, and if they have Millie keep the child, which a lot of fans are actually hoping she does, some otherwise, I think what's going to happen is, as I said, and I know I'm being repetitive here, I do apologize, she is going to step in and be a temporary member of the Imp team, and then I think after that she's going to be given and offered a full-time role on the team, and you're going to go from a team of 4 on the field to a team of 5. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I think she's going to play a big role by being that voice of reason for Millie, and either deciding, hey, it's up to you. Keep the baby or not, that's up to you. But I think she'll want to lean more to Millie keeping it so she can be an aunt and everything, and the parents can be grandparents. And basically, by leaning more in that direction for Millie to go in, or hinting that she wants Millie to go in that direction, Sally Mae, I think, will step in as a temporary member of the team, and then be given, if not offered, an opportunity to be a full-on member as well. And then as far as Loona goes, like I said, I think Loona, she's going to be playing some major parts here in season 3. There's no doubt. Loona, I think she's going to, basically sniff out the stench, the pregnancy stench, if you will, that Millie's going to have, and she's going to call her out about it. And then she might also, along with Sally Mae, be a voice of reason of, hey, it's up to you, but lean more towards of, hey, if I was you, I'd keep the baby kind of deal. And then, of course, Loona, I think, she's going to want to find out more about this new transformation she's going through. She's going to want to research her family history, and I think that's when we'll meet her parents, and that's when I think, I'm trying to say, that's when we'll meet her parents in a flashback. and everything, when she's trying to learn more about her history and everything, and whether or not she can be able to control this form as best as she can without maybe losing herself to it fully. So I think that's what's going to happen there. And that's how Loona's parents are going to come into play in a flashback when she wants to learn more about her history and find out, okay, when is the last time anybody in her family, her actual flesh and blood family, has gone through this transformation. She's going to want to learn more about that. And then I think also she's going to have a talk with Octavia and kind of convince Octavia, look, your dad, he shouldn't have kept his relationship with my dad a secret from you, but he did it out of love. He didn't do it to hurt you. He did it out of love to protect you and everything. And maybe you should just give him a chance to explain himself. And she can even go upon her own history with Blitzo and everything and say, hey, he's kept secrets from me. He's still keeping secrets from me, but I know he does care about me because he was willing to put his life on the line for me. And he wanted to ensure that, if anything happens to him, I get taken care of. So I think we'll get a moment between both the soon-to-be stepsisters, if you will. We'll get that moment between them, and I think that's when Octavia will open her eyes and realize, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been too hard on my dad, and I'll hear him out, and that's when you'll get them back together as father and daughter, and with maybe a promise of no more secrets being held from each other. But yeah, that's just what I think is going to happen. The roles I think all the characters are going to play in season 3 going forward and everything. So yeah, like I said, I think Sally Mae is going to be the voice of reason for her sister Millie, and leaning more towards Millie keeping the baby. And I think when that happens, Sally Mae will become a temporary member of IMP, and then after that get offered an opportunity to be a full-on member. And I think Loona's also going to call Millie out on the pregnancy because she'll be able to detect the stench, the smell of the pregnancy from Millie. So I think, and she'll, as well as Sally Mae, or like Sally Mae, will lean more towards Millie keeping the child. And then speaking of Loona, like I said, I think she's going to learn more about her family history, to learn more about her new Hellhound form. And, she's going to want to learn more about controlling it, and not remaining in that form for too long, or else she might lose herself. And I think this is when we'll meet her parents through her flashback to find out what exactly, the history is, and if anybody in her family has dealt with it before. And I also think we're going to get her talking while Octavia about the situation with her dad and everything, and explaining from her own experience about, how her dad, she didn't think much about her dad, but her dad showed that he cares about her very much, that if anything was to happen to her, she gets taken care of. She's the main priority. So, yeah, overall, those are just my thoughts and everything, guys, on what I think, and what I think, honestly, is going to happen in Season 3, what roles the characters are going to play. That's the one thing about these kind of shows, whether they're fan-supported or studio created and everything, but they're meant for streaming only, or outlets like YouTube only. That's the one thing about these kind of shows, that you have to wait months, if not a year, for the next season to come out, and during that time you're allowed as a fan to speculate on what you think is going to happen next, as far as the characters go, and like what roles they're going to play upcoming, in the next season and all that, going forward. And Helluva Boss definitely fits that mold to a T, because here live I gave you an idea of what I think is going to happen with certain characters and the roles they're going to play based on, what we've seen in the season 2 finale, and so on, going forward now with season 3 very soon. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are about what I had to say here. Comment below. Let me know how you feel about all this. Do you agree with some of my theories and explanations of where I think certain characters, what roles I should say certain characters will play? Let me know. Love to hear from each and every one of you guys. Super thanks will be on after this fully renders and everything here on YouTube from a live stream. Like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the links to find my content elsewhere here on the internet. Also click on, also go to devonart.com at BVW1979. Check me out there. Also check me out at inkbunny.net at BWRosis. And click on the Teespring store as well to find content or to find merchandise you can't get anywhere else. But guys, give me your thoughts on all this. I'd love to hear your theories. And until next time, I will talk to you all later.